Hello and welcome back to So I Married a Record Collector. And thank you so much if you watched our first ever video vlog of the record collection. And this time we're going to be doing another set of 20 records. This time I believe we're actually going to get into the B's, so it didn't nearly take as long as I thought it would to get through the A's. So thank you so much. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, comment, let us know what you think of these records, and we'll get started. All right, first up we have the Golden Songs of Donovan, played by the Johnny Arthey Orchestra. One of those instrumental records of a top pop star of the time. This is, of course, Donovan. We all know. I do like Donovan, and I'm very familiar with a lot of his songs, so I'm sure these are kind of fun instrumentals. I know I said I wasn't a big instrumental fan, but when you can recognize the tune and sing along or whatever, they can be kind of fun. So at first I saw this and I thought, we're not in the D's yet, why are we looking at Donovan? But it's the Johnny Arthey Orchestra doing the Golden Songs of Donovan.
All right, here we have the Johnny Arthey Orchestra doing the Golden Songs of Donovan. Got this for $1.99 at the Princeton Record Exchange, the infamous non-removable Princeton Record Exchange stickers. Nobody in their right mind in the whole world can get those off without destroying a cover. I always buy goofy records like this. Now, they're not goofy, but the easy listening versions of pop hits of the late 60s. I don't know what year this came out. There's no year. I'm assuming 68, 69 at the latest. And he was a British like easy listening conductor. I know there's other records by him, but not many in America. And is this the, yeah, this has to be late 60s because it's the early orange RCA label. And it's all Donovan songs done the easy listening style. Like I said, I always buy stuff like this because I find it amusing. And now with the radio show, sometimes we can use these as background music if we so intend to, or actually play a track from here. I need to play this soon because I know he does Hurdy Gurdy Man, one of my favorite Donovan songs on there.
Next up, we've got the Artwoods and 100 Oxford Street. A little bit familiar with the Artwoods, thanks to John. I know that Artwood is Ron Wood's brother, I believe. Brother. I'm sure he'll set us straight on that, but this looks like maybe a compilation of some of their songs, because it does have their discography down there at the bottom. Does come with a, oh, that's kind of cool. Comes with a little pamphlet type thing with the story of the Artwoods story, and some show advertisements from when they played with PJ Proby. A cool little supplement there.
Here we have the Artwoods, 100 Oxford Street. One of a very early, my first Artwoods record, purchased at Vintage Vinyl, probably sometime in 89 or 90. The Artwoods, British R&B mod band featuring Art Wood, hence the name, Art Wood, bigger brother of Ronnie Wood of the Stones, Jeff Beck Group, briefly in creation, of course, the Birds with an I. And also John Lord of Deep Purple plays organ on here. This is a great comp on the Edsel label, who always did great compilations of rare British bands back then. I now own like 3 different Artwood CDs, or 2. I know Heidi got me the box set for one Christmas, so this is a bit superfluous, but again, I hang on to it for sentimental reasons because it's an early purchase. And also, it has a neat booklet inside. Edsel always put neat booklets in there for their compilations of R&B bands. One other guy, Derek Griffiths, I don't know if he went on to another band. Oh, and Keith Hartley, he's a drummer. He was later in one of John Mayall's Blues Breakers lineups, and also had his own Keith Hartley band, who played a band who played at Woodstock that people forget about. There's like a minute of footage of him there. He didn't want to be filmed for some reason. Anyway, Artwoods, 100 Oxford Street, great British R&B band. Recently, oh, it's not on this album though, because this collects like all their Decca stuff. They had one single on Parlophone, and we heard the flip side in the deep end on the episode of Call the Midwife recently. But great record, great band, check them out.
Now we've got the Assembled Multitude. This sounds like a very epic group of people. I guess they do the overture from Tommy, so I'm sure that was a big reason why John got this record. He's a big Who fan. It is a promo copy, evidently. They also do the song Woodstock that Joni Mitchell wrote, Ohio by Neil Young, While My Guitar Gently Weeps. So I'm not really sure if this is like a choral situation or an orchestra. Probably an orchestra, I think. But yeah, the Assembled Multitude doing a bunch of songs from the late 60s. Actually do MacArthur Park too, and that song is just not a favorite of mine. But cool inner sleeve. I dig inner sleeves, showing all the music available from the Atlantic catalog at the time. Very cool.
Here we have the Assembled Multitude on Atlantic Records from 1970. How to describe this? It's instrumental, all studio musicians. I picked this up because they do the overture from Tommy, which was a hit for them. This is on Atlantic Records. They also do other hits of the day like Ohio, MacArthur Park, Woodstock, While My Guitar Gently Weeps. Oh, they do Why Want You, She's So Heavy. All studio musicians put together by somebody named, I forget who put this together. I thought it was somebody famous. It was all done at Sigma Sound Studios in Philadelphia. Tom Sellers. I don't know any of these names, but I looked it up recently online because I was looking this up for some reason. Forget where I got this. I think I got this from not long after I moved here. We were started doing the radio show, and some local charity was closing down. For some reason, they had a room stuffed with records, and our station manager hit me to it, sent me over there. And I pulled a bunch of records out before the old man who let me in the building was chasing me out because he had to go somewhere. And I think it cost me 25 cents. And of course, has the great Atlantic inner sleeve. That's for you record collectors who start now. This was a great way to learn about other records before we had the internet and book and price guides and everything. You look at these, you had no information. What is that? I'm going to look for that record. Inner sleeves are always very educational. So anyway, Assembled Multitude, overture from Tommy, Atlantic Records.
Hey, here we got some more surf music fun. Surfing with the Astronauts this time. Very appropriate surf cover. To me, a lot more appropriate than the Adrian and the Sunsets that we saw earlier. But yeah, more surf music. Bought at Princeton Record Exchange. See if I recognize any song. Oh, they do Surfin' USA. Susie Q, everyone knows Pipeline, right? So I guess, you know, maybe I'm not such an instrumental outsider, but yeah, on RCA. From 1963.
Here we have one of my favorite surf records and favorite surf bands, the Astronauts, on RCA Records from 1963. Surfing with the Astronauts. Bit of trivia, this image here of a man surfing, that was actually originally a photo of a girl, and they airbrushed it to make it look like a guy. Great surf band, a landlocked surf band. They came out of Boulder, Colorado. They were signed to RCA, and the story goes that they were in RCA, Steve Scholl's office, who was like the president of RCA at the time or something, and he was on the phone with somebody discussing the success of the Beach Boys at the time, and the Astronauts are in the office, and he put the phone down. He's like, "Can you guys play surf music?" And they just went, "Yeah, we can play surf music," without ever having played it before, and became a surf band. Great surf record. Massive tons of reverb, enough reverb to melt your head. Most famous song is Baja, their one and only hit, even though it charted like nationally like 94, but well known, written by Lee Hazelwood. It was also done by future Led Zeppelin bassist John Paul Jones on a rare solo single. Again, Princeton Record Exchange, non-removable label. You'll never get it off without destroying it. One of my favorite surf records ever.
All right, we're getting into the B's now. This is Babe Ruth. not the baseball player, but I see they did a little play on words kind of a thing, having the people playing cricket or baseball on the front. Album's called First Base. To me, that kind of looks like a Ninja Turtle. Here's the group in the back. A lady in the group, actually. She's not Ruth. Her name is Jenny. Don't really know anything about this band. They do Black Dog. I wonder if that's the Led Zeppelin song.
Here we have Babe Ruth, First Base, British prog band. Don't know much about these. I think one of their records, maybe this one, was really desirable for people who wanted to sample it. I don't know if it's this record or not, but this was from, what year is this from? I think this is from around 71, 72. Yeah, 1972. Like I said, British prog rock. Picked this up at Tommy's store, probably very cheap. No price on it. I picked it up because they cover Frank Zappa's King Kong. Oh yeah, this is the track that people wanted to sample, a track called The Mexican, which interpolates the theme from For a Few Dollars More in there. Again, one I probably have not listened to since I first bought it. Has the wrong inner sleeve, has an old 60s Capitol sleeve in it. It's on Harvest, which actually was distributed. Harvest did get distribution in America at the time through Capitol. And weird cover, that's Roger Dean, who did all the Yes covers. Some aliens playing baseball there in hyperspace. But yeah, I think this is one we may have to check out, although, as hideelee has said in previous videos, not really a prog person, but prog can be interesting if they keep it interesting, for lack of a better word. Anyway, Babe Ruth, First Base.
Now here's a strange one, and I'm sure John probably got this based solely on the kitsch factor, but it could be good, I don't know. But this is the Bantams. Beware the Bantams. Yeah, beware. These guys are pretty scary, right? Three little blonde boys. Beware the Bantams. There they are in the back. Yeah, they do all the hits of the time. Twist and Shout, Please Please Me, World Without Love, She Loves You, Susie Q, From Me to You. So basically, just some little boys doing the rock and roll hits of the time.
Here we have the Bantams. Beware the Bantams from 1966 on Warner Brothers. As you can see, pre-teeners. The latest issue of Ugly Things has a feature on them with interviews with one or two of the band members. Got this on eBay. I first learned of it from seeing it listed in price guides and wondering what the heck is that. And I may have seen it at picture of it somewhere, or seen at a record show one time. It's good in a novelty kind of way, and I believe there's probably some studio session men augmentation on it. They do covers like, you know, Twist and Shout, Please Please Me, Ticket to Ride, From a Window. And since they're pre-teeners, the voices are kind of a little irritating, but interesting nonetheless. We tease our friend Michael Lynch and say, hey, weren't they in this band? Because they kind of look like they'd be his brothers. But not really something I play a whole lot. Play once in a while just to maybe irritate someone. Like I said, it's not a bad record. It's not a great record. It's an interesting record. Anyway, I think, I bought this on eBay. Found it cheap once, just late at night, browsing like I used to. Anyway, the Bantams, Beware the Bantams, Warner Brothers, preteen garage rock, 1966.
All right, now we got a Beach Boys record. The Beach Boys, Love You, from 1977. I know a lot of Beach Boys songs, but I don't really know this record. Obviously released fairly far on in their career. The Hairy Days. Seems like a lot of bands just got into the Hairy Days in the late 70s. But it's got to be towards the end of their initial run with Dennis. I'm not sure exactly when Dennis passed away, but there's a nice inner sleeve with some photos of the band on tour. And a shout out to Brian, who I guess was not touring with them at this time.
The Beach Boys. The Beach Boys Love You from 1977. A now classic, much revered record because it's a strange record in their discography. Yes, this came out in, 77. How to describe it? It's, I can't find the word sometimes to describe this. I got it out of the dollar bin at Izzy's before I was working there. Now people pay more money for that than $1. At the time, it was just, throw to the dollar bin. It's one of those non-selling Beach Boys records. This has the infamous song Johnny Carson. And Honking Down the Highway is a good tune. Solar System. This 30-second song written with Roger McGuinn called Ding Dang, which is like nothing. It's just Brian and Roger going ding dang. Oh, there was a song, Solar System's another good one. And I can't remember which one it is. Maybe it's called Let's Put Our Hearts Together or Let Us Go On This Way, where Brian sings very, very badly. I can't believe they put it on the album. But it's just like one of those cult albums now that people go back and discover and think it's really great. Like it's some kind of precursor to New Wave or something. But anyway, Beach Boys, Love You, 1977 through Warner Brothers. Check it out.
All right, next up, we have a record that I surprisingly don't know anything about. This one's called The Eyes of the Beacon Street Union. And there's the back. Trying to see if there's any songs on here that they do that I recall. Beautiful Delilah. I know the Kinks do that. Yeah, don't know anything about this band. The Beacon Street Union. Gatefold. Inner sleeve. I've seen this inner sleeve in a lot of different MGM records promoting their artists.
Here we have the Eyes of the Beacon Street Union by the Beacon Street Union, a Boston band from 1968. This was a early record show pickup somewhere along the line, probably the show in Clark at the Coachman Inn. The Beacon Street Union were part of a kind of hype promotional campaign in '68 when MGM signed a ton of bands from the Boston area and tried to sell the record buying public on the Bosstown sound, like the San Francisco sound. Of course, late 60s, hippie idealism, they just saw it as, crass commercialism. And none of the records sold very much. Some of the other bands signed during this whole Bosstown thing were the most probably other well-known one is the Ultimate Spinach. I first learned of this because there was an article about them in Goldmine magazine. If everybody remembers when Goldmine was big, nice and big and readable. Now it's like the Reader's Digest. I don't know who buys it anymore. And they sounded real interesting, and I came across this at a record show, and I bought it. I think this is the one where, yeah, they cover Chuck Berry's Beautiful Delilah, and it's so obviously like a humorous piss take, should you say, of the Kinks version, because he even sings like Dave Davis on it with that snotty voice. Produced by Tom Wilson, who produced The Mothers, The Velvets, Animals, Bob Dylan. They put out 2 albums. The second one is called The Clown Died in Marvin Gardens, whose photograph artwork was done by the same ad agency that did The Doors' Strange Days. And that's the album that has like a 16-minute version of Baby Please Don't Go. Then they changed their name to Eagle and made one album on, I think, the Janus label, then disappeared. Pretty decent pop psych. Nothing to turn your nose up at. It just got a bad rep back then because, you know, they were trying to push this Bosstown sound, and all the snobs in San Francisco were like, you know, that's how it is. Anyway, The Eyes of the Beacon Street Union on MGM, 1968.
All right, moving into the super popular Beatles, of course. Their records are pretty common. I know that a lot of people tend to get excited when they see Beatles records, but I mean, if you think about how many were actually sold during the time, I think the key would be finding originals in really, really good condition, not just finding a Beatles record, you know. But again, record collecting, I know for sure, is just what is it worth to you? And I know for a fact that John only collects the things that he likes and enjoys and isn't as much of a completist as much as a music collector in general. So yeah, I know he doesn't have a ton of Beatles records, but the ones he has, I think, are pretty interesting. Like this one for sure, the Beatles Christmas album. Has their fan club Christmas messages from 1970. Oh, from 63 to 69. So it's kind of like a compilation of the Beatles Christmas messages to their fans. It's got a pretty nice white marbled vinyl. And a receipt. So this was from 1988. Vintage vinyl, 1988. I was 7 years old. Makes me feel young to look at these receipts. But he bought this, and he bought Forever Changes by Love, one of my all-time favorite albums, and an issue of Goldmine. So here's a vintage vinyl receipt from 1988. Spent a total of $38.42.
Here we have the Beatles Christmas album. Again, hate to disappoint you, not an original. This is a pirate copy, bootleg copy. And as I'll show you, it's on the trademark equality label, the famous, infamous bootleg label, and on marbled vinyl. This is a pirate copy bootleg of their 1970 Christmas albums. By at that time, they weren't getting together to record a Christmas message, so the fan club collected all the messages from 63 to 69 onto one album. Got this, I think, let's check it out. I saw the receipt poking in there. Nope, I got this at Vintage Vinyl in March 26, 1988. I'm assuming hideelee may have already pointed this out to you, but I used to save my receipts to keep track, like I said, of my spending. And when they started having a rewards program at Vintage Vinyl, for every $200 or $100 you spent, you got $10 off. So I would count down. You know, funny stuff, you know, if you're familiar with it, I'm sure you are. If you're watching this, most people are. The messages from 63, 64, and even 65 are pretty straightforward, just them fooling around. Then they become much more creative and psychedelic and just downright strange, but funny, and just total goon humor. Anyway, Beatles Christmas album, bootleg version, originally came out in 1970.
Up next, we've got The Beatles Story. It is a documentary type record with 2 albums inside. This little gatefold here includes selections from their hit records and interviews with the Beatles and their fans. The whole story on record from beginning to fabulous fame.
Here we have The Beatles Story, an audio documentary from the early days of Beatlemania on Capitol Records. This was also an early Izzy's purchase. I was poking around in a cabinet that just had random records in it. I mean, maybe I wasn't supposed to be in there, but Izzy liked me, so he let me do what I want. I think I paid 12 bucks for it. This is a later reissue from, I think, the late 1980s on the Purple Capitol label. And what it is, you know, it's the Beatles story, narrated by Los Angeles DJ Roger Christian, who I think was on KFWB. The Roger Christian that wrote songs with Brian Wilson of the Beach Boys, some of their early tracks. And I just got it because I never had it. I remember always seeing it when I was first discovering records and shopping for records as a preteen, 6th, 7th, 8th grade, whatever. Just a nice looking package. I can't say I don't listen to it a lot. My favorite part on here, though, if I'm remembering correctly, they're interviewing one Beatle, and in the background you can hear, I think it's John, say out loud, goes, "I don't even know the girl." Somewhere in there. But Beatles Story, I think this came out 64, early 65. Don't really do that research. But nice, clean. Again, it's the fetish thing. Why not have it? It was clean. Beatles Story.